Welcome to episode 114 of the Epilogue Lady podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband, my oldest son, and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. I also have a group on Ravelry where you can participate in make-alongs and the occasional giveaway, and I have a Ko-fi page where you can support me and the podcast. There is also an option for a monthly donation, and at some point this year I'm going to start drawing prizes for that one as well. I'm thinking a Christmas present at the end of the year, drawn from whoever is my monthly donators at the time. And that's about it for my intro. As you can see, still sitting in the living room, and I'm going to keep on doing this because I have the house to myself and it's much easier to set up in here. I don't have to rearrange furniture or anything. I just get everything out and pop down. It's snowing quite a bit outside. We already had the it's not a snow plow, it's one of those big snow blowers mounted on a tractor, because we have started, this is the 2nd season running, I think, or the 3rd season running, that we have somebody clear our driveway for snow because snow. Okay, because I have arthritis in my shoulders, or osteoarthritis is the correct term, so I can't do the snow anymore. And hubby is at work during the day, so we thought, why not have somebody come do it? And he does it late at night or even really early in the morning, so hubby can just go out the driveway when he's going to work. It doesn't have to clean the driveway for snow. Shovel a lot of snow before he leaves in the morning. I'm struggling finding the words today, not sure why. It's been a rather strange week and a half. Not that that has anything to do with it, but my youngest son came to visit us on a Thursday, I think it was. And he was supposed to go home that Sunday. But then we got the first of several storms. So we postponed until Wednesday, and then another storm hit, so we had to wait until yesterday. So that's why this podcast wasn't posted on Friday, but I'm doing it today instead. And I realized Mondays are a much better day for me to do the podcast, because I have the house to myself, that's one thing. I also have the house to myself on Fridays, but hubby has a shorter day on Fridays. So I have less time to record this and edit this before hubby gets back. So from now on, every other Monday will be podcast day. Some of you might think that Monday is a bad day for uploading a podcast if you have been used to watching it during the weekend, but this is not exactly the news. So if you have to wait until Saturday watching a podcast that was uploaded on a Monday, that's not a problem, because this is not the news at 9 or something. So I'm going to, for practical reasons, I'm going to start doing this on Mondays, because I have the house to myself until 3:30 p.m. So it's a much more relaxing thing for me, because not only has hubby got a shorter day on Fridays, but normally when he gets back from work, we go grocery shopping and everything. So I never have the time to finish the editing before we have to leave the house. So enough about that. You could I put up a really short video beginning of this podcast showing you the blizzard we had. It got worse after I recorded that, but there was no point in recording then because you couldn't see anything. It was a total whiteout. So that's what we have been having for the last week or so. Off and on, we had one good day. That was Thursday. And then it started up again on Friday. And because my youngest son, when he comes here and when he goes back home, it's a 4-hour bus drive and a 1-hour ferry. And the ferry is going over some really exposed part of the sea. So when there's a rough weather, it's really rough, and they sometimes they cancel that ferry. And I was thinking, okay, so he takes the bus to the ferry, and the ferry gets cancelled, and he's stuck there. So we waited until it was certain that he could get home safely. It snowed a lot yesterday, but the bus drivers driving the roads in northern Norway, they're champs at this. They know how to get there, even if it's snowing a lot. So not worried about that. Oh, this is Thursday work. By the way, this really nice tumbler was made by my friend Sue in Canada, Craftsmanship 7. She makes me mugs and t-shirts and everything. So that's the intro and life stuff. Nothing real exciting has happened. I got new glasses, as you can tell. I got 2 pairs of glasses because when you buy Specsavers has this thing, you can get 2 pairs of glasses for the price of 1. And I got glasses to use on my computer for that exact distance, because I get a headache if I sit on my computer for a long time. And when I remember to change my glasses, it works fine. I don't always remember. But anyways, so I got two pairs of glasses. Hubby also got new glasses. And when he got back from Specsavers, I couldn't tell that he had his new glasses on because he was so adventurous. He got a frame that looked almost exactly like his old one. Men, I guess. That's part of that's the joy for me in doing this every other year or something. I get to pick a new frame. So I look a bit different. But no, he got a frame that looked almost identical to his old one. So the exciting thing these days is that we have started planning a trip to the UK. What we're doing when we're doing it, we got tickets for the football game. Soccer for you Americans. We haven't bought tickets for Unravel yet, but now we know we're going there on Sunday, and we're going for the 11 a.m. time slot. It doesn't mean you have to be there at 11 a.m., but you can't get there before 11 a.m. And we have a bit to travel before we get there. So we're going for the later time slot. And we're going to go there by train, and we're going to rent a car for the last bit. Instead of going, because the train, sorry UK people, but your trains are expensive and not always reliable. So we're taking the Airport Express to Gatwick, and then we're renting a car at Gatwick, and we're driving to Farnham, and then we're driving back to Gatwick and taking the Airport Express back to Brighton. That's how we're doing it. And fortunately, hubby has no problem driving on the wrong side of the road, because in Norway, like most other countries, we drive on the right side of the road. In England or in the UK, they drive on the left side of the road. And it feels so weird because I sit on the side with the driver where I normally sit when I drive the car. So it feels so weird getting... the first time hubby was driving in England was our honeymoon, because our honeymoon consisted of 2 weeks on the road in England, and we did one sleep. We had one night at a hotel in Wales, and I was so impressed with him because he had no problem driving in England. I wouldn't dare doing it, but the first couple of days when we were getting back to the car, I always went to the wrong side of the car. I went to the driver's side because I was so used to getting in that side of the car. Enough about that. That was a tangent, and I barely started. This is what happens when you don't have notes. These are my notes. So I just keep rambling on. So first, what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Everyday Tee by Twin Stitches Design, and it's knit in Natural Boo, which is a merino bamboo blend that I used to sell in my shop, and the colorway is Nebula. And that's what I'm wearing. And we have both knitting and spinning FOs. I've decided I'm not going to divide this into knitting and spinning because I do both. Not sure what happened to the color on the camera. Suddenly the colors are changed. I haven't gotten used to this camera and the settings yet, but it shouldn't change while recording. So don't know what is happening there. Not sure why I'm discussing this, but anyways, we were talking FOs. This is going to be a nightmare podcast. I think this is one of those hot messes. So I think I'm going to that's the title of that's the name of this episode. A hot mess. Anyways, these are finished, and these are for my son. They're a bit longer than he likes them normally, but I wanted to touch this green before I cast them off. So the yarn is Gusto wool, and it's called Echoes, and this was part of my Christmas box from Sue in Canada, and I cast them on during Christmas or straight after Christmas, and because I fell hard down the spinning rabbit hole, it took me longer than normal to finish. So sorry about that, but I've been bitten by the spinning bug and everything revolves around spinning. And because of that, I produce a lot of yarn. So I have decided that at any one time during the entire year, one of my knitting projects is going to be with hand spun. So when I finish the project I'm working on at the moment, I'm going to cast on something else in hand spun. And I know exactly what I'm going to cast on because I have the yarn almost ready for it. I have a spinning project on the wheel at the moment. I'll put up a picture. I'm not loving it, but I'm going to finish it. I'm spinning from the fold. It's a technique I decided to learn because the yarn, the fiber, needed to be spun from the fold because otherwise it would have gotten really muddy. It still is muddy in places because the colors are blending. So I'm finding this really difficult, and I'm going to chain ply it afterwards. Hopefully it won't be real messy, but I'm going to chain ply it, and I'm probably just going to add it to my scrappy crochet blanket. Not sure what else I can do with it. So I'm not going to repeat the spinning from the fold experiment unless I come across some fiber that are multicolored but not as many colors as there is in this one. But I'm finding it difficult and fiddly and not loving the process. So, but I'm going to finish it before I start my next project. My other spinning FOs is, I've shown you this before, but now it's finished because it's been soaked and thwacked. And it's my Targi from Cozy Posy Yarn Company. I think that's what it's called. I think it's Yarn Company. And it's 50% of that and 50% Polworth that I dyed in a medium grey. And it's 14 wraps per inch, and I have 459 meters here. And I was thinking about, because I didn't love this barber pole look. The colors are beautiful and everything, but I couldn't see myself using this for a hat or a shawl or something, because it would look marled, and I'm not too fond of the marled effect, but it's crazy, crazy soft. So it's too good for socks. So, not sure what I'm going to do with this, but it's really, really soft, and I managed to get a fingering weight, so maybe as a contrast color in the stranded sweater, because I have enough for that. I could combine it with a grey, for example, or maybe some undyed. I'll think about it, but this is too good to be socks. So that's the Targi, and then I have, you remember the yarn I showed you last time that I was going to fractal spin? Well, it's done. And this I really love. This looks, I really like the way this looks. Okay, so this still is a barber pole, but it's a really fun barber pole, if you know what I mean. So this was really fun. This is Polworth. From the braid was from Ulvey, and this is a 13 wrap per inch, and it's 222 meters. So it's about a sport, but it's uneven as all my handspun. It's uneven. It's not consistent, but I think that's part of the charm with handspun. I'm going to show you some undyed fiber later in show and tell that I'm going to do something with. I'll show you that later, but this is my fractal spin. So that's that, and then I have my sweater quantity. You remember the Jacob that I dyed cinnamon toast? Well, it's finished, and this is what it looks like finished. And even though I started with a 500 grams of fiber, it's not quite a sweater quantity. I did the math on this. I don't remember exactly, but I think it was about around 800 meters. 275, 244, 235, and 89 meters. So it's about 700 meters. I suck at math. I did, of course, do the calculations, but I haven't got paper with me. So I did the calculation to find out it's about 700 meters or something. So that's not enough for a complete sweater, but I have a plan for that. So, and again, I'll talk more about that when I get to show and tell. So those are my FOs and my whips. I told you about spinning from the fold that I have on the wheel at the moment. So that's my spinning whip, and I'm going to finish that today. And then we have my knitting whips. I've gotten quite a bit on this quilted lattice cowl. It looks, it's of course curled up. It's this wide. And this is a hand spun. This is corridor that I dyed and then spun up. And I dyed it in the same colors as my unicorn. What unicorn? And I have this much yarn left. I might not use all of it because I want this cowl to be long enough to go two times around my neck, but I don't want it to be loose. So what I'm doing, I'm going to measure it up against a different cowl I have that is going 2 rounds around my neck, that I find is the perfect length, and I'm going to knit this to the same length, and then not sure what I'm doing with the rest of the yarn, but anyways, so I have to measure this soon to find out if it's long enough. So that's that whip. Snape is wandering around and not sure what he's up to. My second whip is a friend of mine bought this yarn for me. She sent me pictures of this yarn from a local yarn store, and I really love the look of it, and I found a store online that sells it. So I ordered a sweater quantity, and it's from House of Yarn or Dale, and it's 12% mohair, 24% wool, 24% acrylic, 9% nylon, and 31% polyester. So there's 5 different fibers in this. And I went back and forth trying to figure out what sweater to knit, and I ended up doing the no frills, because there's so much happening with the yarn. So I'm just doing the no frills. Hopefully it won't be too prickly, because mohair on me doesn't always work, but it's only got 12% mohair, so hopefully it won't. But this might get a little see-through as well, so I'll probably have to wear a t-shirt or a shirt or something underneath. So that's the No Frills by PetiteKnit. I've knit one before, and it's a really easy pattern. And if it's not finished, I might put this in the suitcase when I go to England, if it's not finished by then. It might not be. We'll see. Because I won't be able to knit on that on the road while we're traveling, but it would be nice to have a bigger project in the hotel room. My experience tells me I won't knit a lot in the hotel room, but it's always nice having a project in the suitcase, just in case. I'll probably cast on a pair of socks for my travel knitting. And I'm going to use a 9-inch circular out of wood, just in case. Not sure what his problem is. Anyways, that is my whips. So I haven't got a lot of other knitting to talk about. I have several whips that are hibernating, again because of this spinning rabbit hole. But what I have to talk about in show and tell, I haven't gotten any yarn in the mail, but I've gotten some fiber from Spinnvilt. And Spinnvilt is a really nice name for a shop selling wheels and fiber, because spinning is also called spinning in Norwegian. And the term spinnvilt in Norwegian means stir crazy. So it's a fun name for the shop. It's kind of a pun. So stir crazy, spinnvilt. Anyways, that was of course a tangent. I digress. It's me, what do you expect? So they have their own secret sock blend. This is, so you don't know the percentages, but it's Dorset horn, Cheviot, alpaca and nylon. but you don't know how much of each. But I guess there's at least 10% nylon in this, because they're calling it their strong sock blend, so at least 10% nylon. I have never tried to spin anything with nylon in it, so it feels kind of rustic. I like that, because that means it's easier to spin. It looks kind of easy to spin. So I was debating spinning this first and then dyeing it, but that would be like normal dyeing, so I decided I want to dye the fiber first and then spin it. So what I'm going to do with this fiber is, I have 250 grams here, and I'm going to split it into two, because I'm sure that I get enough for a pair of socks from 125 grams of fiber. Because 100 grams of fiber, the other fractal spin I did, this one, was 100 grams of fiber, and I got 222 meters, and I normally knit shorties, and I normally use about 50% of a full skein of yarn. That's 400 or 425 meters. So I have enough for a pair of socks from 125 grams of fiber. So I'm going to do two different colors, and I'm going to try dyeing a gradient, so I can do a fractal spin for a pair of socks. I'm thinking a gradient. I could, of course, use my kitchen counter and hand paint it, but then again, why not do the same thing with this as I do when I self-stripe yarn? Because you want to dye sections of it in different colors. So I'm either going to dip dye it, or I'm going to do the same technique as when I do self-striping. And I'm not going to do all the sections the same length either. And I'm going to do it in my colors, I guess. Peaches, pinks, purples. We'll see what I come up with, but that's what I'm planning on doing. And the sun actually came out. Maybe that's what happened with the colors as well, because I see a blue sky and the sun is back. It's been back for a couple of weeks, and it's really nice outside. So now that the sun is out and it stopped snowing, maybe I'm going for a walk before I edit this. We'll see. But anyways, this was the strong sock blend. And I said it was Dorset horn, cheviot, alpaca and nylon. So that's my next dyeing thing I'm doing. And the other fiber I got from them is more Jacob. But this one is, this is the natural color of it. It's this beautiful warm gray. I really love this color. So it's natural. I'm not going to do anything to this. I'm just going to spin it as it is. And I'm going to combine it with this for a Stripes by Andrea Mowry. And both are Jacob. The only difference is this one is dyed. And again, I'm going to do a Stripes by Andrea Mowry. Probably a little bit more ease than the others I've done, because this is sort of more rustic. I'm not feeling, this isn't scratchy at all, but that could be the dyeing process, because sometimes I find that the vinegar and the citric acid softens up the fibers a bit, and this is really rustic with Jacob. So probably a bit more positive ease than on the others I did. Those are practically zero ease. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do the exact same size. I'm just going up a needle size. And that should do it, because this is, although this is 14 wraps per inch, so that's basically a fingering weight, it's a bit uneven. So I should probably go up needle size, because some of it is almost like DK. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going up a needle size from the first one I did. It doesn't matter if it's a bit too big. That's okay, as long as it's not too wide in the neck. You see, this one is a bit too wide in the neck, basically. But again, this is probably going to be an outside sweater because this is going to be really, really warm. Because it's all Jacob. Merino isn't as warm, I find. So that's what I'm doing with that. And yesterday, I was left to my own devices on my laptop for too long. And Spinnvilt has a lots of different breeds fiber from lots of different breeds. And I want to go through them, sort of, to find my perfect fiber, if you know what I mean. My favorite fiber so far has been the Targi, but I can't get Targi. I've tried, I've checked. So I have to wait until the really nice lady at Cozy Posy gets in some more Targi, and she said she will probably get her hands on more Targi at some time this spring. But then again, it's going to be already dyed, and I would have to combine it with something of my own to get enough yardage, and it's really expensive buying the fiber from Canada, so we'll see. All that to tell you that I ordered some fiber yesterday. I ordered 500 grams of Wensleydale and 250 grams of Cheviot. And the reason why I ordered that much of the Wensleydale is because it said it's the perfect, it's really good for dyeing, it said. And I was thinking, yes. So I should try the Wensleydale. It's 500 grams, and I know from experience that's not enough for a sweater. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to combine it with something else, probably. We'll see what I come up with. I could of course knit a vest. I've decided that's what I'm doing with. I'm doing the V-neck Sunday slipover, or what it's called, from PetiteKnit. I have that pattern. I've knitted once before, and that's what I'm doing with my advent spin. It's so difficult calculating how much I need for main color and a contrast color, and what sweater to knit, because I have that big skein of the lamb's wool, but that's a bit, it's a heavier weight. So that's the thing with the hand spun. I produce a lot of yarn and I struggle finding projects for it. And as I said, I want to have a project using hand spun on my needles all through the year. Both because I have the From Fluff to Stuff mal. Please enter if you can, by the way. The rules are in the threads on Ravelry, and the FO thread is the discussion thread is going fine, and the FO thread has started up as well. People have at least put some pictures of the fiber they're planning on using in the FO thread, and as I said, that's a wonderful way of doing it. Put the fiber in first, then edit the post as you're spinning, and then edit the post to put in the finished object. And as you can tell, things look a bit different. And the reason for that is I forgot to charge my camera yesterday, and I had it charging for a couple of hours, almost 3 hours before I started recording. Apparently it wasn't enough. It suddenly cut out on me and said battery empty. So I've been thinking about getting a secondary battery pack for that camera. So I have a replacement battery if I run out. For example, in the middle of recording a podcast. Fortunately, I have a really good camera phone, so I can finish it off using my phone. And again, I'm a seasoned professional, so hopefully it would look too much. I think the frame is a bit different. It's got more around it than the camera, but I'm going to fix that in edit or something. Anyways, enough about that. So that's the FO and the discussion thread and the make along fluff to stuff. And the other year-long make-along that I'm a part of is the Shop Your Stash Mal. I'm putting the hashtags of both these on screen. And it's run by my friend Sue and her friend Liz at Distant Stitches and Alex at My Yarny Corner. And I'm also part of it, mostly as a prize donator, I guess, but I'm also going to draw the winner myself in that make-along. So I'm going to draw a couple of prizes during the year for that make-along. Speaking of make-alongs and prizes, what I'm wondering is, because I'm going to produce a lot of handspun this year, would the skein of handspun be a good enough price for any of these make-alongs? Fluff to stuff, people are producing their own handspun, of course, but in addition to fiber, I'm probably going to dye up some fiber, maybe buy some fiber for prices. So there will be fiber as prices in the fluff to stuff, but I might include some handspun when I do the big price drawing at the end of the year. I might also do handspun as prices for my other make-alongs, if you feel that a skein of handspun will do it, because I'm not an expert yet, so it's going to look like handspun as well, if you know what I mean. But let me know, because I'm going to get quite a stash of handspun, I guess, this year, because I'm spinning all the time. I'm spinning every day, so that's just something I was wondering. I might not be able to find projects for everything, and my plan for this isn't to get an extensive stash of handspun, because I have a big enough stash as it is. And speaking of stashes, now that I have the house to myself several days a week and everything is sort of back to normal, I plan on doing a de-stash. I'm going through my entire yarn stash, and I'm going to pick out everything that I'm going to be almost do the I don't remember what the lady is called, but you're supposed to hold things, everything you own, you're supposed to hold it in your hands and feel, if it doesn't spark joy, get rid of it. I'm going to do that with my entire yarn stash. And I have a sneaking suspicion that quite a lot of it won't spark joy, because it's stuff I bought on impulse. Maybe I don't like those colors anymore. Maybe I feel like I'm never going to use this because it's going to look wrong, because I bought something to use for in a sweater. I changed my mind. It hasn't got nylon in, so I can't use it for socks, and so on and so on. So all that to say, I'm going to do a de-stash. I haven't decided on where to do de-stash yet. If I'm going to do it on Instagram, if I'm going to do it on my Ko-fi page. I'm thinking I can't do it both places, because then I could risk selling the same skein twice. If I do it I only have about 1,000 subscribers on Instagram. That's maybe not enough people, but I have even less people on my Ko-fi. I'm not sure how many followers I have on Ko-fi, but it's not even a 3-digit number, I think. So it has to be Instagram. And I'm going on again. Not sure how long this podcast is going to get, because I've spoken a lot about spinning and less about knitting, as usual. But that's what happens, I guess, when I get so focused on a new thing. And I still have a lot of the day left, so I'm going to make myself some lunch first before I start editing this, and I'm going to get this up on YouTube before my hubby even gets home. And that's the beauty of doing this on a Monday. So Mondays it is from now on. Just checking my notes, my extensive notes. Nope, I haven't got anything left to talk about. No new life stuff. I guess I will be talking a bit more about spinning next time. Because then I hopefully have, because that's 2 weeks from now. So hopefully I'm going to have dyed up the fiber that I'm going to fractal spin for socks. I might be finished spinning the grey Jacob for the sweater and maybe even cast on the sweater. But that's in 2 weeks. So now I'm going to stop talking to you, make myself a fresh cup of coffee and some lunch, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Bye bye.